Welcome, dear listener. Tonight, you and I are about to step into a world that may surprise you. A world where beauty was not simply about how someone looked, but about what their appearance said about their family, their wealth, and even their soul. You may think beauty standards are only a modern invention, born from magazines, films, and endless photographs. But the truth is far older and far stranger. For in the medieval world, beauty could mean a pale face powdered with dangerous mixtures, a high forehead made by plucking away hair, or even teeth filed and blackened, things that to us may seem unsettling, yet were once signs of charm, health, and power. So as we walk together through this story, you will hear secrets of medieval courts, strange customs of both peasants and nobles, and the curious ways people shape themselves to fit an image that today might feel bizarre, but in their time felt natural and even divine. Before we begin this quiet journey into the past, let me gently remind you, dear friend, if you enjoy these calming stories, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel so you never miss another night of history, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Perhaps even tell me where in the world you are listening from, because every voice, every place adds to this circle of history and rest we share now. Take a slow breath. Settle yourself where you are most comfortable. Let your eyelids grow heavier with every word, and allow me to guide you softly into the strange and beautiful shadows of the medieval world. Close your eyes, dear listener, and imagine yourself walking down a narrow cobbled street in a medieval town. The air cool with the scent of wood smoke and damp stone, the sound of distant bells echoing softly across the rooftops. You pass by merchants calling out their wares, fabric dyed in deep crimson and blue, small pots of herbs and powders, and you begin to notice how much importance people place in the way they looked, on how the world saw their face, their hair, their body in those days. Appearance was not only vanity, it was survival, for beauty carried meaning. It was a silent language everyone understood, a way to show wealth or piety, or even one's place in the eyes of God. Pale skin, for instance, was a symbol of status. For those who worked under the sun, grew brown and weathered, their hands rough, their faces lined. But those of noble blood lived indoors, protected by high stone walls and heavy drapes, their skin untouched by harsh light, and so pale skin became the mark of refinement, a sign that one did not labor with the common folk. Imagine a noble lady seated at her polished wooden mirror, the light of a single candle falling across her face, her maid grinding chalk into powder, mixing it with a paste that she spreads carefully across her skin to make it whiter, smoother, though the powder itself was made with lead, a poison that slowly seeped into the flesh, bringing illness, yet still desired. For without it, she would not be seen as beautiful. Her forehead, too, was carefully shaped, for in the medieval mind, a high, wide brow was a sign of wisdom and nobility. And so women plucked away the hair at the edge of their hairline, sometimes even rubbing strange mixtures to slow its growth. The higher the forehead, the closer one appeared to the ideal in hair. Oh, listener, hair was considered a crown in itself. Long golden locks were prized. And if one did not have naturally fair hair, herbs and sun-lightening tricks were used. Chamomile, saffron, even lime water, to bring out a lighter shade, for blonde hair was seen as pure, angelic, almost holy. But it was not only the women, men too followed curious standards. A knight might oil his beard, trimming it to a sharp point to show strength and order, or let it grow full and dark, believing it gave an air of authority. Yet a clean-shaven face was also admired, for it revealed youth and clarity, and so men shifted with the times. As fashion moved like the tides among the peasants, things were different. Their beauty was measured not by powders or perfumes, but by strength and health, broad shoulders, steady hands, clear eyes, for in a village, one's worth was tied to labor, and a strong back or skilled hands were as beautiful as any painted face in a castle still, even among the common folk. Festivals brought moments of display, where girls wore ribbons in their hair, boys combed down their locks, and flowers were tucked behind ears, a reminder that beauty, however humble, was sought and cherished everywhere. What is striking, dear listener, is not only the details of these practices, but the effort behind them, the lengths people went to meet an idea, even if it brought them pain, even if it risked their health, because beauty was never only about the self. It was about how others looked upon you, what they whispered in the market, what they thought when you entered the hall. So tonight, as you drift in this quiet story, think of that noble lady with her pale, powdered face, her high forehead gleaming in the candlelight, her hair brushed for hours until it fell like silk across her back. Think of the peasant girl at the fair, her cheeks flushed from dancing, her smile brighter than any jewel. And remember that beauty in the medieval world was as much performance as it was appearance, a stage upon which all men and women played their part. Yet, dear listener, performance alone was never enough, for in the medieval world, beauty was tied deeply to morality, to faith, and to the great chain of being that governed every breath of life. To appear beautiful was to reflect not only health or wealth, but also divine favor. The church, ever present, watched closely, and in sermons, priests would often speak of beauty as a sign of God's blessing, while warning against vanity as a dangerous sin. Thus, a woman's pale skin or a man's noble bearing were not merely admired, they were read like texts, symbols of whether their soul stood in grace or in peril. Consider, for a moment, a grand feast held within the high stone walls of a baron's hall. The torches burn with a golden glow, casting shifting shadows across tapestries and banners, the air thick with the smell of roasted meat and spiced wine. At the long table sit lords and ladies dressed in silks and velvets, their faces powdered, their hair carefully arranged, each striving to embody the ideal of beauty expected of their rank. Yet beneath the shimmer lies something more subtle, for every gaze across the table carries judgment. A lady with cheeks too ruddy might be whispered about as a woman of common blood. A gentleman with crooked teeth might be mocked as careless or unworthy of noble company. Beauty here is currency, traded silently with every glance, every nod, every whispered remark behind a jeweled fan. Outside the hall, in the muddy lanes of the village, the picture shifts. A farmer's daughter may wash her hair in rainwater, comb it smooth with carved wooden pins, and plait it neatly for the midsummer festival. She owns no silks, no costly powders, but her neighbors note the glow of her skin after hours of labor in the fields, her laughter in the dancing ring, her strength in carrying baskets of grain. This, too, is beauty, though unadorned, for to her community it means resilience, fertility, and the promise of a family survival. In both castle and cottage, beauty was judged not in isolation, but always in relation to one's role, one's purpose, one's place in the woven fabric of life. And what of the strange practices that might shock us now? Imagine a noble lady darkening her lashes with soot to make her eyes appear larger, or rubbing herbs upon her cheeks to mimic a gentle blush. Some even drew faint blue lines across the temples to suggest delicate veins beneath the skin, for such a look was thought refined. Teeth, too, carried meaning. While white teeth were valued, in certain places blackened teeth, stained with herbs or honeyed mixtures, were marks of wealth, for only those who could afford rich sweets suffered such decay. And so decay itself became, paradoxically, a symbol of status. It is easy to smile at these customs, to see them as odd or misguided, yet pause for a moment, dear listener, and reflect upon our own time. Do we not also endure discomfort in the pursuit of beauty? Tight shoes, painful treatments, the sting of chemicals, the endless rituals of grooming, all carry the same thread that stretches back through centuries. The medieval woman plucking her hairline for a high brow, the modern soul shaping and reshaping themselves for photographs, both are bound by the same desire to be seen, to be valued, to belong. And in this recognition lies the quiet heartbeat of history, the realization that beauty, though it changes its form, has always served as a mirror of society. In the medieval world, it told of one's closeness to heaven, one's distance from toil, one's claim to nobility. Today, it may whisper different words, yet the echo remains. So, as you lie back now, listening to the steady rhythm of these ancient images, imagine once more the candlelit chamber where a lady bends her head to her maid as careful hands, powders dusting the air like ghostly breath, her reflection shimmering in polished bronze. Picture, too, the peasant girl spinning with laughter at the fair, her hair flying loose, her eyes bright in the firelight. Both, in their own way, are radiant, both caught within the same web of beauty and meaning, though their worlds stand far apart. And as we step softly forward into this story, dear listener, we will uncover still stranger practices, still deeper secrets of how people once shaped themselves to match ideals now forgotten. The journey through beauty has only begun, and the path winds further into shadow and wonder. The light of morning has grown stronger, though the air still holds a cool dampness clinging to the grass and the soil beneath bare feet. Our farmer wipes his brow, leaning on the wooden shaft of his tool, listening for a moment to the chorus of birds calling from the hedgerows and the branches above. The world feels awake now, no longer suspended in the fragile silence of dawn. Carts rumble faintly in the distance, carrying milk, cheese, or firewood toward the nearby town, while smoke rises in thin threads from the chimneys of cottages scattered across the landscape. He knows the rhythm of these mornings well, and his body has grown used to their demands. There is no space for idleness, not when the land itself dictates the pace of each day. By now, his eldest son joins him in the fields, carrying a wooden bucket and leading the small oxen that help with pulling the heavy plow through the earth. Together they guide the animals carefully, speaking low and steady, urging them forward. The soil parts slowly, rich and dark, as the plow's iron tip digs in. Each furrow carries with it the promise of life to come, each line of broken ground preparing a place where seeds can rest, covered and nurtured by the earth itself. Farming in this age is a marriage between patience and strength. The farmer knows that one mistake, one season of poor timing, or one storm too many could leave his family hungry when winter arrives. And so, as the oxen strain and the plow cuts its path, he pays close attention to the soil's texture, to the moistness that clings to it, and to the way his tools respond. Every furrow dug is a careful act, not rushed, not careless, but steady and deliberate, as though he is carving the very future of his household into the land. From time to time, he pauses to stretch his back, glancing toward the village where his wife tends to chores of her own. She is busy at the hearth, turning grain into bread, spinning wool into thread, preparing herbs that hang in bunches near the door. Her tasks are different, yet no less vital. Without her constant care, food would not be cooked, clothing would not be mended, and children would not be kept warm or well. Medieval life relies on the shared labor of both man and woman, each bound to duties that together form the circle of survival. When the sun climbs higher, the farmer takes a short rest beneath a tree, sipping water from a leather flask. His son joins him, cheeks flushed, hands roughened from holding rope and wood. They share a simple meal, a piece of dark bread, a slice of cheese, perhaps an apple kept from last autumn's store. Their conversation is quiet, filled not with idle chatter, but with words that pass along knowledge. The father explains how to read the sky for weather, how to spot the best soil for sowing, how to respect the animals that serve them. These are lessons not written in books, but carried in memory and tradition, passed down like seeds planted in the hearts of the young. When the meal ends, they return to work, sowing seeds into the furrows they have prepared. The farmer walks with a pouch tied at his belt, scattering the grain by hand. Each movement is practiced, an art as much as a necessity. The seeds must fall evenly, not too thick, not too sparse, and he judges by eye, by instinct born of countless seasons. His son watches closely, learning not only the movement, but the deeper truth hidden within it, that life itself depends on these small gestures, that every seed carries weight beyond its size. Hours pass, the sun crossing further overhead, the shadows shifting on the ground. The work is demanding, yet there is peace in its constancy. The farmer does not long for luxury, for grand halls or silken garments, for his pride is bound in the furrows of his field, in the grain that will feed his children, in the knowledge that his hands hold the power to turn earth into sustenance. For him, each day is a quiet triumph, built not in glory, but in endurance. By late afternoon, the fields are sown, the plow resting against a tree, the oxen tethered to graze on nearby grass. The farmer wipes dirt from his palms, feeling the satisfaction of work well done. Yet the day is not finished. He and his son gather bundles of firewood from the hedgerow, stacking them neatly, preparing for the cooking fires of evening. They mend the fence that keeps animals from straying, tightening posts, weaving branches, ensuring no gap remains for mischief. Back at the cottage, The smell of stew drifts through the open doorway, rich with herbs and simmering vegetables. His wife stirs the pot slowly, adding handfuls of salt, tasting, adjusting, until the flavor is just right. The younger children chase each other in the yard, laughter ringing out, their small feet kicking dust into the air. The family is bound together by the rhythm of such evenings, when the day's toil draws to a close, and all gather to share warmth and nourishment. The farmer sits at the table, his body weary but his spirit steady. Bowls of food are passed, bread is torn, cups of ale are lifted. The children chatter about small discoveries, the shape of a bug, the sound of a bird, the story heard from an elder in the village. Their voices fill the room with a brightness that balances the weight of labor. For though life is hard, it is not without joy. Each shared meal is a celebration of survival. Each laugh a reminder that humanity endures even in the simplest of places. As the meal ends, the farmer leans back, gazing at the glow of the hearth. He feels the ache in his muscles, the heaviness in his limbs, but also a deep sense of belonging. His life may seem plain to those who dwell in castles or walk among merchants in bustling cities, but for him there is richness here, in the soil, in the steady growth of crops, in the warmth of family gathered together. He knows that tomorrow will bring work once more, as it always does. But tonight, for this moment, he rests, content beneath the roof of his home. And when darkness falls and stars appear once more, he lies on his straw-filled bed, listening to the quiet breathing of his family. The sounds of the night return, owls calling, crickets singing, the distant rustle of wind across fields. His eyes close slowly, and he drifts into sleep, carrying with him the knowledge that life, though fragile, continues with every sunrise. The seasons turn, and with them the rhythm of life in the medieval village flows onward. The air carries the scent of damp soil, and the echo of footsteps on the beaten earth streets is softened by the sound of roosters, bells, and voices greeting the dawn. In this world, each day is both familiar and new, a repetition of tasks, yet never without its own small surprises. The village itself breathes like a living thing, with every hut, every cottage, every soul adding to the heartbeat of the community. At the edges of the village fields, a haze of mist lingers low, clinging to the stalks of barley and oats, wrapping the earth in a hushed blanket. Farmers emerge with their tools, shoulders hunched against the morning chill, while children dart between them, carrying baskets, or simply running free until called to order. The work begins early, and it stretches long. But to them, this is life, steady and unchanging, tied to the turning of the sun and the passing of the seasons. Inside the homes, the hearth still glows from last night's embers. Bread is baked, smoke curls from chimneys, and voices murmur softly as families prepare for the day ahead. A medieval house is no grand palace, but within its simple wooden walls lies warmth, companionship, and the sense of belonging. Each dwelling tells a story, from the tools hung neatly on walls to the rushes strewn across the floors, to the herbs drying above the fire. These are the details that root people to their time and place, giving texture to existence. Yet the medieval day is not all labor. Moments of pause find their way in, like sunlight breaking through clouds. The ringing of a church bell gathers people, not only for prayer, but for news, for shared laughter, for glimpses into each other's lives. Market days bring noise and color, the chatter of merchants, the calls of buyers, the clink of coins changing hands. Children tug at sleeves for sweetmeats, while women exchange gossip over bolts of cloth or baskets of eggs. Life may be hard, but it is never without connection, never without the joy of community. Evening, when it comes, softens the village again. The sky glows with the last hues of sunset. Smoke rises in steady plumes, and the sound of lutes or voices lifted in song drifts across fields and hedgerows. By the firelight, stories are told of saints, of kings, of creatures that wander the forests, both real and imagined. In these tales, villagers find lessons, comfort, and wonder, weaving together a sense of identity and shared memory. And as night draws its veil, with stars flickering above and silence settling into the corners of cottages, sleep comes as a kind of grace. The medieval village rests, gathering strength for the day to come, secure in the knowledge that life, though demanding, is steady, and that tomorrow will rise with the same rhythm as today. As the dawn of a new day stretches over the medieval village, the first light catches upon the dew-laden fields, sparkling like tiny jewels scattered across the grass. The villagers awaken slowly, the rhythm of life resuming as if nothing had ever paused. Smoke curls from hearths, mingling with the crisp morning air, carrying the aroma of warm bread and herbs being prepared for the day ahead. Women stir pots and churn butter, while men gather their tools and ready themselves for the work that the land demands. Children shuffle about, yawning, rubbing sleep from their eyes, and yet already caught in the excitement of simple tasks and small adventures. The market is beginning to stir as well, with carts creaking on cobblestones, merchants arranging their wares, and the murmur of voices gradually rising into the familiar hum of commerce and gossip. Each face tells a story, the lines of hardship etched into the farmers' foreheads, the brightness of excitement in the eyes of children, the practiced dignity of those who walk with purpose toward the church or the Lord's manor. In this medieval world, appearances mattered as much as actions. A man with well-kept clothing and a steady gaze was considered reliable and honorable, while a woman with carefully arranged hair and spotless attire could earn admiration or envy. Beauty was everywhere. In the deliberate arrangement of dress, the polished tools of trade, the care given to one's home, and the quiet pride in a job done well. Among these ordinary people, the lessons of history unfold quietly. A young girl watching her mother braid her hair sees not only a style, but a tradition, a transmission of values and aesthetics that will define her sense of self and her place in the community. She notices how powdered faces of visiting nobles draw attention, how whispers and glances follow them, and she begins to understand that beauty is as much about perception as it is about reality. Her eyes take in the contrasts between those who labor in the fields and those who dine in halls of grandeur, seeing how the world measures worth and status, even in the subtle arc of a smile or the tilt of a chin. Meanwhile, the men labor in the fields, guiding oxen, tending crops, and repairing fences. The repetition of these tasks, day after day, season after season, becomes a meditation. There is pride in this routine, a connection to the soil, and a quiet understanding that each action matters. The tools in their hands are extensions of themselves, and through careful work, they shape both the land and the lives that depend upon it. As noon approaches, families pause briefly to share bread, cheese, and perhaps a sip of weak ale. The air is filled with the laughter of children and the murmur of adults exchanging news and advice. These moments, though small, are woven into the fabric of daily life, shaping bonds and preserving knowledge. They are as essential as the larger achievements of wealth or status, for a society is held together not only by rulers and castles, but by the countless acts of care, skill, and observation performed quietly, out of view. By mid-afternoon, the sun is high, casting long shadows across the fields and streets. The pace of work shifts slightly, as the heat encourages rest and careful attention. Herbs are collected from gardens, water drawn from wells, and animals tended with diligence. The arrangement of baskets, the careful tending of livestock, the preservation of seeds for future planting, all of these demonstrate a harmony between human effort and the natural world. As evening draws near, the village prepares once again for the comfort of home and hearth. Fires are stoked, stews simmer, bread is sliced, and the air fills with the mingled scents of cooking, smoke, and earth. Stories are told once more, legends of saints, tales of distant lands, and practical lessons disguised as entertainment. The act of listening becomes a ritual, a way of transmitting knowledge and values from one generation to the next. And as the stars appear overhead, quiet and unchanging, the villagers settle into beds of straw. The world outside muted by distance and darkness, each heart carrying the day's labor and small victories into sleep. Tonight, dear listener, imagine the glow of fires behind small windows, the hush of village streets, and the gentle cadence of ordinary lives unfolding with care and intention. See the women arranging their hair, the men tending tools, the children sleeping after a day of running and learning. Beauty here is not only what is seen, it is the rhythm of life itself, the careful attention to detail, the commitment to community, and the simple, enduring acts that allow people to survive, thrive, and find contentment even in times we might consider harsh or unforgiving. And as you lie back now, letting these images settle in your mind, remember that each day in the medieval world, each act of care and pride, each subtle practice of appearance and behavior carried lessons for those who watched, and continues to offer us insight into the complex ways that human beings have always sought to be seen, valued, and remembered. The night deepens over the medieval village, and the quiet settles with a weight that feels both gentle and protective. Stars glimmer faintly, barely visible through the occasional drift of clouds as the wind rustles softly across the fields. The village sleeps, yet even in this stillness, life continues in subtle ways. A cat pads silently across a courtyard. A dog stirs in its straw bed, and the faint murmur of someone tending a hearth late at night carries across the streets. In these moments, the ordinary acts of care and maintenance are as crucial as the grand gestures performed in distant halls. Within a modest cottage, a mother arranges the blankets over her children, tucking them in carefully to ensure warmth through the night. The fire glows low, casting shadows on the walls, illuminating the small carvings and simple tools that fill the home. Each object has its purpose, each placement a testament to the family's routines and values. Here, beauty is practical, arising from order, cleanliness, and the tender attention given to others. It is a different kind of elegance than that of powdered faces and fine silks, yet no less meaningful, for it sustains life and preserves comfort. Elsewhere, in the manor house of a local lord, candles flicker along polished tables and tapestries. A lady adjusts her hair before the mirror, ensuring every strand falls in the precise place required by fashion and expectation. Her powdered skin gleams in the firelight, her sleeves arranged just so, her posture perfectly straight. She is aware of the eyes that might fall upon her, family, visitors, servants, and knows that each glance is a measurement, a judgment. Her beauty is an armor and a declaration, a language understood without words, conveying wealth, grace, and her place in the social hierarchy. In both cottages and castles, the medieval world revolves around these subtle displays and careful maintenance of appearances. A farmer's son may imitate a knight he has seen at the market, straightening his shoulders and mimicking the noble's deliberate movements, unaware that he is participating in the same rituals that define status and identity in the upper echelons of society. The ideas of beauty, propriety, and distinction travel quietly, filtering down through observation and imitation, embedding themselves in the consciousness of the young, shaping the expectations of each new generation. The church also plays its part, reminding all who enter that beauty of the body is linked to morality of the soul. Frescoes depict angels and saints in serene, idealized forms. Sermons extol the virtues of purity, humility, and grace. These lessons intertwine with daily life, informing how women dress, how men carry themselves, and how both sexes perceive the world around them. To appear careless or neglectful could suggest weakness or moral failing, while careful grooming, well-chosen attire, and polite demeanor were silent signals of virtue and refinement. Even in the smallest details, the medieval mind finds significance. A ribbon tied at the nape of a neck may signal betrothal. A certain color of clothing may indicate allegiance or rank, and the arrangement of a hairstyle might reveal a person's age, wealth, or intentions. To us, some of these customs may seem elaborate or unnecessary, yet in their context, they are deeply meaningful, shaping interactions, relationships, and the very structure of society. As the night stretches onward, the village continues to breathe. Outside, the soft hoot of an owl punctuates the hush. The wind stirs leaves against timber walls, and somewhere in the distance a single lantern wavers in a window. It is a world alive with small movements, subtle rhythms, and quiet beauty. The care taken in appearance, the diligence in household tasks, and the attentiveness to social cues all weave together, creating a tapestry of life that is at once simple and complex, humble and profound. Dear listener, let your mind wander gently through these scenes. Picture the soft glow of firelight reflecting off powdered cheeks, the meticulous plaiting of hair in quiet chambers, the children curled beneath blankets in humble cottages. Understand that beauty in the medieval world is multifaceted, encompassing both the extraordinary gestures of the noble class and the quiet, enduring acts of everyday survival. It is a concept that stretches across time, linking the grand and the simple, the public and the private, the fleeting and the lasting. And as sleep draws nearer, you can rest knowing that these images, These routines and these practices form a bridge between the centuries, connecting us to those who lived, laughed, worked, and cared long before our own time. Beauty, in every sense, is a reflection of life itself, a story told through appearances, actions, and devotion to both self and community. As the first light of dawn filters softly through the narrow windows of the cottages, the medieval village awakens once more, carrying with it the rhythm of endless repetition and quiet ceremony. Birds call from the hedgerows and trees, the scent of wet earth rising as the frost begins to melt beneath the slowly warming sun. Villagers stretch their limbs, rubbing sleep from weary eyes, and prepare for another day dictated by both necessity and custom. Women gather water, prepare meals, and check on children, while men ready their tools and assess the conditions of the fields, their movements deliberate and familiar from countless days spent tending to the land. Amidst this ordinary bustle, there exists a subtle choreography of beauty and presentation. Even the simplest garments are adjusted carefully, sleeves rolled just so, hair braided or combed into neat patterns. The medieval mind sees no distinction between appearance and action, for both are judged, both communicate. A farmer's wife who dresses with attention to detail signals care, discipline, and respect for her family, while a noblewoman's powdered cheeks and flowing robes declare wealth, status, and conformity to the expectations of courtly society. Beauty in this world is both practical and performative, a reflection of one's role and intentions. The children who watch and mimic these practices learn early the subtle language of the body, the importance of posture, gesture, and decorum. Even the way a boy carries a basket of apples, or the manner in which a girl bends to gather eggs from the hen house, is observed and interpreted. In the medieval imagination, such movements are imbued with meaning, signaling diligence, humility, or readiness for greater responsibilities. From the market stalls to the manor halls, every action is a form of communication, a part of the greater tapestry of social life. Beyond these daily rituals, festivals and religious occasions provide opportunities for more deliberate displays of beauty and fashion. On feast days, villagers adorn themselves with ribbons, wreaths of flowers, and bright cloth, taking care to present a version of themselves worthy of both the occasion and the gaze of neighbors. The noble classes elaborate these customs further, commissioning garments of fine silk, jewelry of polished gold, and intricate hairstyles that may require hours of preparation. Every detail is scrutinized by those in attendance, every smile, every bow, every glance carrying a weight of expectation. In these moments, the interplay between practicality and display becomes most evident. A knight might polish his armor not only for protection, but to impress, his plume and crest chosen with attention to color and style. A lady may arrange her hair and garments so that each movement accentuates her posture, her elegance, and the impression she leaves upon those around her. Even the simplest household objects, the arrangement of herbs, the placement of food on a table, participate in this delicate dance, shaping perception and reflecting care. And yet, beauty in the medieval era is never divorced from morality, spirituality, or social cohesion. A carefully kept appearance signals respect for God, self, and community. Neglect may suggest indolence or impropriety. Church teachings permeate daily life, reminding all that the body is a vessel and its presentation reflects the state of the soul. The powdered face, the arranged braid, the clean and orderly home, all are intertwined with virtue, signaling adherence to accepted norms and ideals. As the day progresses, villagers move through this rhythm with quiet diligence. Men till the fields, sow seeds, and repair fences, while women attend the hearth, maintain the household, and nurture children. The young observe, learning lessons embedded not in books, but in the careful observation of daily life, absorbing the subtle rules that govern interactions and appearance. Every smile, every gesture, every careful adjustment of clothing or hair contributes to a language that is simultaneously personal and social, spoken without words, yet understood universally within the community. And when evening returns, bringing shadows and the dim glow of candlelight, families gather once more. Fires crackle gently in hearths, meals are shared, and stories unfold, weaving together history, legend, and personal experience. The day's work is recounted, the triumphs and missteps noted, and the routines of care, preparation, and attention continue. In the quiet of the night, the lessons of beauty, diligence, and observation settle in the minds of all who have witnessed them, preparing the next generation to carry forward the practices and ideals that define their society. Sleep eventually descends upon the village as if summoned, filling every corner of the cottages and streets with calm. The wind whispers through trees, owls call in distant forests, and the villagers' breathing deepens as dreams take hold. The care given to appearance and action, the beauty cultivated in both the extraordinary and the ordinary, lingers in the memory like a gentle echo, a reminder that in the medieval world, life itself was an art, and every gesture, every detail, every act of preparation contributed to the ongoing story of human experience. The following morning rises quietly, painting the village in pale gold and soft mist, as though the world itself pauses for a moment to breathe. Villagers emerge from their cottages, faces touched with the freshness of sleep, limbs stretching and shaking off the night's rest. The air carries the faint scent of dew, mingled with smoke from hearths where fires have been rekindled for early bread baking and brewing of simple herbal drinks. Even the livestock seems to sense the rhythm, their lowing and rustling marking the return to daily life. Steady and predictable, yet never entirely the same. In the fields, the farmer walks steadily, guiding his oxen through the furrows while observing the soil, the blades of grass, and the tiny insects that inhabit the earth. Each step is deliberate, each movement both functional and mindful, reflecting a balance between effort and observation. The rhythm of labor itself carries a quiet beauty, a harmony between human activity and natural cycles. A child follows, imitating movements, learning through repetition and example, understanding without words the connection between diligence and reward. Meanwhile, in the manor, the noblewoman adjusts the folds of her dress and the arrangement of her hair, checking in polished mirrors and reflecting on the impression she will make upon guests and peers. Every gesture, from the tilt of her head to the sweep of her sleeve, is measured, precise, intentional. She navigates a world where perception and appearance intertwine, where beauty is an instrument, a form of communication, a reflection of both inner and outer order. The lessons she embodies, whether consciously or unconsciously ripple outward, influencing those who observe her, teaching standards that extend far beyond the walls of her home. Across the village, women gather at wells and along pathways, exchanging words while fetching water or tending to chores. Their laughter mixes with the creaking of carts and the murmur of men in the fields, forming a layered symphony of daily life. In these moments, beauty is both subtle and overt. The careful braid of hair, the tidy hem of a skirt, the posture and movement of bodies accustomed to both labor and presentation. Such attentiveness communicates readiness, virtue, and care, signaling to neighbors and visitors alike the values held by each household. Festivals and holy days punctuate this rhythm, offering rare glimpses of celebration and elaboration. On these occasions, the village transforms. Garlands of flowers adorn doors and windows. Children wear ribbons and colorful clothing, and food is prepared in abundance. Music drifts from taverns or open squares, accompanied by dance, laughter, and the shared enjoyment of community. The noble classes amplify these customs with ornate garments, jewelry, and carefully styled hair, presenting themselves in ways that embody wealth, taste, and adherence to courtly ideals. The interplay between common and noble displays of beauty reveals the layered nature of medieval society, where social cues, aesthetic values, and cultural expectations intersect. In quieter spaces, the lessons of appearance and behavior continue in subtle forms. A young girl watches her mother braid hair, apply herbs to skin, or adjust garments, absorbing techniques and standards that will shape her understanding of beauty and propriety. A boy observes his father handling tools or negotiating in the market, learning gestures, posture, and the weight of careful attention. Through such observation, each child internalizes the codes of conduct, the practices of self-presentation, and the values that define their world. These lessons are not formal or written, but lived and absorbed, like the rhythm of the seasons or the passage of light across fields. Even as evening approaches and the village readies for the return to hearth and home, the interplay of beauty, diligence, and social expectation remains vivid. Fires are lit, meals prepared, and the smell of cooking spreads through streets and cottages alike. Families gather to eat, converse, and share stories of the day. The lessons of labor, appearance, and observation are recounted subtly in anecdotes, in guidance offered to children, and in the daily reinforcement of customs and rituals. As night falls, stars emerge once more, twinkling over thatched roofs, barns, and open fields. The village breathes a collective sigh, settling into rest. The subtle rhythms of life, the attention to beauty and presentation, the care given to family, community, and self, linger even in sleep, reinforcing the invisible threads that bind people across generations. Each act, each gesture, each careful adjustment becomes part of the story of human life, an enduring reflection of the values, priorities, and aesthetic sensibilities of the medieval world. Dear listener, as you allow your mind to drift through these images, imagine the quiet glow of the hearth, the movement of hands in preparation, the care in every detail, both grand and simple. In this world, beauty is not merely decoration, nor is it superficial. It is woven into the very structure of daily life, an expression of culture, morality, and identity. Morning returns again to the medieval village, soft light spilling over rooftops and dew-kissed fields. The air is cool but carries a promise of warmth as the sun slowly rises, revealing the textures of thatched roofs, rough stone walls, and the carefully tended gardens behind each cottage. Smoke rises from chimneys in gentle spirals, bringing with it the scent of baking bread, herbs drying over hearths, and the earthy aroma of soil disturbed by plows. The villagers stir, bodies stretching from sleep, faces flushed with the freshness of dawn, and the rhythm of daily life resumes, both familiar and endlessly intricate. In the cottages, women move with practiced precision, arranging garments, combing hair, and preparing meals that will sustain the household through labor and study. Each motion carries both function and intention, a blend of care and presentation that is fundamental to the identity and perception of those who perform it. Their children watch and imitate, learning lessons in diligence, attention, and propriety as naturally as they learn to walk or speak. Even the act of fetching water or tending chickens becomes an exercise in the subtle art of presence and form. Each gesture laden with meaning, understood by those within the village and beyond. Outside, men guide oxen and horses through fields, check fences, and tend crops with a mixture of strength and mindfulness. Each swing of the hoe, each turn of the plow is deliberate, precise, and imbued with both physical and symbolic significance. Labor itself becomes a form of expression, revealing character, skill, and respect for the natural cycles that govern life. Observers, young and old alike, note the steadiness of posture, the care in movement, the manner in which tools are handled. In the medieval imagination, these details communicate far more than words ever could. The marketplace awakens with its usual blend of color, sound, and negotiation. Merchants call out wares, coins clink, and conversations overlap in a symphony of human interaction. Here, beauty and perception are paramount. Clothing, cleanliness, and bearing communicate social status and personal reputation, influencing trade and relationships. Even the arrangement of a display, the neatness of a stall, or the care in handling produce signals attentiveness, honesty, and pride. In this world, appearance is inseparable from function, and the ability to present oneself thoughtfully is both necessary and admired. Festivals punctuate the flow of time with color and ceremony, offering villagers the chance to elaborate upon their daily practices of beauty and presentation. On these days, ribbons, flowers, and bright cloth transform ordinary streets into spaces of wonder. Music, dance, and storytelling fill the air, blending entertainment with lessons in social codes, etiquette, and cultural values. Nobles amplify these customs with elaborate garments, polished jewelry, and stylized postures, demonstrating wealth and refinement, while influencing standards throughout the village. Commoners, too, participate, understanding that these events are opportunities to demonstrate care, skill, and respect for tradition. Even in quiet moments, the principles of beauty, propriety, and care endure. A young girl carefully braids her sister's hair. A boy arranges the tools of his father for the day's labor. A mother lays herbs to dry with methodical precision. These small acts, repeated daily, teach children the importance of attention to detail, respect for objects and people, and the subtle language of behavior that governs interaction and perception. Every gesture communicates, every arrangement matters, and every day provides new lessons in the silent art of living well. As evening returns, the village slows. Fires are lit, meals prepared and shared, and the air fills with warmth, aroma, and quiet conversation. Stories unfold once more, blending practical guidance with wonder, preserving knowledge, culture, and values in the minds of the young. The lessons of beauty, diligence, and attentiveness remain vivid, their echoes lingering as the villagers prepare to sleep. And as night deepens, stars pierce the sky, illuminating thatched roofs, fields, and cottages. The village exhales in unison, resting under the quiet hum of existence, each household carrying the day's care, preparation, and observation into dreams. Beauty, in all its forms, continues to weave itself into life through action, appearance, and intention, creating a tapestry that binds generations, defines community, and preserves the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world. The morning arrives slowly, the sun rising in gentle streaks of amber and rose, illuminating the village with a soft, forgiving light. Dew glistens upon the thatched roofs and fresh plowed fields, giving a transient sparkle to every surface. Villagers begin to stir, stretching arms and yawning quietly, their faces still softened by sleep. The rhythm of the day resumes with familiar grace, each action measured, deliberate, and deeply intertwined with the lessons of generations before. Women gather herbs, stir stews, and prepare the morning bread. Their movements a dance of utility and quiet artistry. Each braid, each fold of cloth, each careful motion reflects an innate understanding that beauty is never separate from life itself. Men step into the fields, guiding oxen, sowing seeds, and tending livestock. Their muscles work in harmony with the soil, the wind, and the ever-changing light. Even in the labor of tilling or mending fences, there exists an elegance born of practice and intention. The rhythm of repeated motion becomes a meditation, teaching patience, endurance, and awareness. A young boy observes, carrying a small bundle of tools, learning both the craft and the grace of careful, mindful action. In this manner, knowledge is passed silently, embedded in the very gestures of everyday life. Meanwhile, in the manor, nobles prepare for audiences and daily obligations. Ladies arrange hair, adjust the folds of dresses, and smooth the fine fabrics of their garments, all while maintaining composure and a controlled expression. Gentlemen perform similar rituals, ensuring that each element of attire, posture, and demeanor conveys respect, strength, and refinement. The social theater of appearance is constant, permeating all interactions and teaching lessons that extend beyond immediate observation. Beauty, whether through labor, appearance, or movement, is the invisible language of medieval society. Children, observing both the ordinary and the elaborate, internalize the lessons with quiet attentiveness. The young girl who watches her mother braid hair or the boy who studies his father's careful handling of tools are learning far more than the superficial acts themselves. They are absorbing the codes of propriety, the significance of presentation, and the subtle ways in which appearance communicates intention and morality. These lessons are repeated daily, shaping character, understanding, and the very perception of self and community. Market day brings vibrancy and motion. Merchants call out wares, coins clink against wooden tables, and the air is filled with a symphony of voices. Clothing, grooming, and posture become silent signals, communicating social standing and reliability. Even the arrangement of goods, neatly stacked bread, polished vegetables, or baskets aligned with care, reflects skill, attention, and pride. In medieval thought, these demonstrations of order and presentation are extensions of virtue, signaling diligence, honesty, and respect for both community and tradition. As the day moves toward afternoon, the warmth of the sun brings soft shadows across the village streets. Women tend gardens, children carry water, and men continue their work in the fields, all while the rhythm of beauty and care continues unseen yet deeply felt. Even the smallest gestures, tightening a braid, adjusting a hem, smoothing a garment, communicate dedication and attentiveness, teaching lessons without words and reinforcing the ideals of propriety, social harmony, and personal pride. As evening descends, fires are rekindled, meals are shared, and the quiet rituals of family life resume. Stories are told, weaving together legend, morality, and practical lessons, reinforcing the values of diligence, beauty, and observation. The lessons of the day settle like dust in the minds of the young, preparing them to participate in the intricate choreography of life that governs both village and manor. Finally, night blankets the village in calm, the stars twinkling above thatched roofs and open fields alike. The gentle hush of sleep envelops all, carrying the careful attention to action, appearance, and intention into dreams. In every house, cottage, and hall, the practices of beauty, propriety, and diligence are preserved and remembered, a testament to the enduring rhythm of medieval life. Dawn creeps softly across the medieval village, painting rooftops with pale gold and long shadows stretching across the fields. Birds begin their morning chorus. The faint rustle of leaves accompanies the first steps of villagers emerging from their cottages, and the scent of dew-laden earth mingles with smoke curling from freshly stoked hearths. In each household, women rise to tend fires, prepare bread and porridge, and arrange clothing and hair with careful attention. Each gesture, while functional, carries an unspoken elegance, a signal of care, discipline, and the understanding that beauty is inseparable from daily life. Men return to fields, guiding oxen, sowing seeds, and repairing fences. Their labor is steady, deliberate, and rhythmic, almost meditative in its repetition. Every swing of a tool or turn of the plow communicates skill and attention, a reflection of character that neighbors, children, and passing travelers may observe. Even the simplest acts, such as fetching water or stacking hay, are performed with consciousness, merging function with a subtle expression of social propriety and personal pride. Young children follow, absorbing lessons silently, learning the codes of movement, posture, and engagement that define the rhythm of their world. The marketplace hums with early activity. Merchants set out their goods, baskets of apples, loaves of bread, woven fabrics, and polished tools. The hum of conversation rises into a steady murmur, punctuated by calls of sellers and laughter of children. Here, appearance and conduct are inseparable. The neatness of a stall, the polish of coins, the posture of a seller, and the care in the presentation of goods all communicate trustworthiness, skill, and status. Observation becomes a constant practice, with villagers decoding subtle cues to guide behavior, interactions, and judgments. Noble households are equally meticulous, though the means of presentation differ. Gowns, veils, and hairstyles are arranged with precision. Powdered faces gleam in the firelight, and gestures are measured to convey composure, grace, and awareness of social expectation. Every glance, bow, and tilt of the head carries meaning. Through these visible signs, lessons of propriety, beauty, and hierarchy ripple through the community, reinforcing social codes that inform both everyday interactions and ceremonial occasions. Children, attentive and impressionable, carry forward these lessons, observing closely how mothers and fathers perform tasks, how nobles present themselves, and how peers respond. A braid, a clasped hand, a straightened sleeve, these details teach respect, propriety, and self-presentation as surely as words from a teacher or parent. Every day, through repetition and observation, they learn the subtleties that govern their society, the delicate balance of beauty, utility, and morality, woven into ordinary life. As the sun climbs higher, the village is alive with the harmony of labor and care. Fields stretch outward in neat rows, gardens flourish under attentive hands, and livestock moves with the rhythm dictated by farmers' guidance. Even minor details, tidy garments, smooth hair, polished tools, contribute to the overall impression of diligence and propriety, demonstrating how beauty extends beyond appearance to include action, care, and community responsibility. Evening returns quietly, softening the world with long shadows and muted light. Fires are lit in cottages, meals prepared and shared, and conversations weave through the air alongside the aromas of cooking. Tales of saints, travelers, and distant events are recounted, blending lessons with entertainment, reinforcing values of diligence, propriety, and attentiveness to both self and community. As night settles, the villagers' breathing deepens, the village exhales collectively, and sleep carries the lessons of beauty, conduct, and observation into dreams. Stars glimmer faintly overhead, reflecting off thatched roofs and open fields. The rhythm of life continues unseen in the night. The careful acts of preparation, presentation, and attention persisting in memory and imagination. In every household, the values of beauty, propriety, and diligence remain a quiet force, shaping the world and the generations that follow. The medieval village, though small and ordinary, stands as a testament to the enduring interplay between human effort, aesthetic awareness, and social cohesion. A story whispered softly through every gesture, glance, and action. The next morning unfolds gently, painting the village in muted gold and the soft blue of early daylight. Mist rises from fields and gardens, curling around fences and thatched rooftops, creating a quiet, almost magical atmosphere. Villagers awaken gradually, stretching and shaking off the lingering drowsiness, their movements synchronized with the rhythm of daily life that has been passed down through generations. Women tend fires, knead dough, and arrange clothing and hair with care, teaching their children, often silently, the intertwined lessons of beauty, utility, and propriety. Every braid, folded hem, and dusted surface carries meaning, reflecting not only diligence, but the subtle expectations of society. In the fields, men prepare for labor, guiding oxen and horses through the furrows, sowing seeds, and tending crops with deliberate precision. Each motion, repeated daily, becomes both a physical necessity and a reflection of character, demonstrating patience, skill, and responsibility. Young boys observe closely, mimicking the actions of their fathers, learning the rhythm of work as a language of instruction, where movement conveys knowledge, morality, and social expectation as effectively as spoken words. The harmony of work and observation creates a sense of belonging, connecting each individual to the broader patterns of village life. Market day arrives, and the village pulses with the energy of commerce. Merchants arrange produce, fabrics, and household goods with care, knowing that presentation is inseparable from reputation. Buyers walk past, inspecting wares and observing posture, cleanliness, and gestures, interpreting subtle signs of trustworthiness and skill. Even a simple cart of vegetables or a loaf of bread becomes a reflection of diligence and attentiveness. Beauty here is functional, intertwined with social trust and mutual respect, reinforcing the lessons learned in cottages and fields alike. Meanwhile, in the manor, nobles prepare for formal duties and visits. Ladies adjust hair, gowns, and accessories with painstaking attention, while gentlemen polish boots, straighten cloaks, and rehearse gestures of courtesy and authority. These displays, though elaborate, are extensions of the same principles seen in cottages: care, intention, and observation. Beauty, in this context, communicates social position, character, and adherence to cultural norms. Every glance, every bow, every carefully chosen movement reinforces the invisible codes that shape medieval society, demonstrating how aesthetics, morality, and social cohesion are deeply intertwined. Children, ever watchful, internalize these lessons with remarkable acuity. A girl braiding her sister's hair, a boy adjusting tools, a child observing the careful arrangements of a merchant stall, all participate in a subtle curriculum that teaches respect, propriety, and presentation. These lessons are not theoretical, they are lived, absorbed through careful observation, repetition, and imitation. Through this continuous process, knowledge and values are transmitted across generations, ensuring continuity in both the practical and the aesthetic dimensions of life. As the sun climbs higher, the village becomes a rhythm of coordinated activity. Fields stretch outward in patterns dictated by toil and care. Gardens thrive under the attentive hands of women, and livestock move with a guided grace. Even the smallest gestures, a smooth sleeve, a tidied hair strand, a polished utensil, reflect a careful attention to detail, reinforcing the intertwined lessons of beauty, effort, and propriety. Each act, no matter how ordinary, contributes to the collective understanding of community and self. Evening returns quietly, with fires lit in cottages, meals prepared and shared, and conversations flowing between family members. Stories of saints, travelers, and local events intertwine practical guidance with entertainment, reinforcing the moral and aesthetic lessons of daily life. Children drift into sleep absorbing these values, while adults reflect on the day's accomplishments, the care given to home and neighbor, and the subtle beauty inherent in their routines. Night descends fully, stars appearing like distant lanterns above rooftops and fields. The village exhales collectively, resting under the gentle blanket of darkness. In each home, the lessons of appearance, action, and social harmony remain vivid, preserved in memory and imagination. Beauty, expressed in labor, attention, and presentation, continues to weave itself into life, ensuring that the ideals of diligence, propriety, and communal cohesion endure, quietly binding past, present, and future generations together. Morning breaks once again over the medieval village, and the light spills across cobblestone paths, thatched roofs, and open fields with a gentle, forgiving glow. The air is crisp, carrying the scents of earth, smoke, and the subtle fragrance of herbs drying above hearths. Villagers awaken slowly, stretching and adjusting their garments, preparing themselves and their homes for the rhythm of the day. Women arrange hair, fold clothing, and set the hearth just so. Their movements, both practical and elegant. Each gesture is an unspoken language, a reflection of care, attention, and the invisible standards that shape daily life. In the fields, men guide animals and tools with deliberate precision, tilling soil, sowing seeds, and repairing fences. Their movements are steady, rehearsed, and graceful in a way that speaks to both strength and discipline. Every swing of the plow or careful step among crops conveys more than labor. It demonstrates responsibility, skill, and adherence to a rhythm, learned through observation and repetition. Young boys follow, carrying small tools, mimicking their fathers, absorbing lessons about work, posture, and social expectation. The beauty of these actions is found not in ornamentation, but in the harmony of effort, intention, and awareness. The marketplace comes alive mid-morning, filled with a symphony of sound and motion. Merchants display their wares with care, arranging fruits, vegetables, fabrics, and household goods in orderly and appealing ways. Buyers observe posture, cleanliness, and demeanor as much as the goods themselves, interpreting subtle signals of reliability, skill, and social standing. Even the way a basket is carried or a stall is organized communicates diligence, attentiveness, and pride. Beauty here, as elsewhere, is inseparable from function and morality, forming a silent yet pervasive language that governs interactions across the village. In noble households, the preparation of the day is a carefully orchestrated performance. Ladies arrange hair, adjust gowns, and smooth the folds of fabric, ensuring that posture, gesture, and expression communicate refinement, composure, and adherence to social codes. Gentlemen polish boots, straighten cloaks, and rehearse bows or greetings, projecting authority and elegance. Every detail, no matter how small, carries meaning, reinforcing a culture in which beauty, propriety, and social awareness are inseparable. Lessons learned in these halls ripple outward, shaping expectations and behavior across all levels of society. Children, ever observant, absorb these lessons naturally through imitation and careful attention. A girl braiding her sister S. hair or a boy carrying tools in precise fashion learns more than technique. They internalize values of care, discipline, and the social importance of appearance and action. These lessons, though subtle, are powerful, weaving the threads of morality, propriety, and beauty into the fabric of daily life. Each day's repetition strengthens understanding and ensures continuity across generations, shaping minds and behaviors long before formal instruction begins. As the sun climbs, the village hums with coordinated activity. Fields are tended with care, gardens flourish under practiced hands, and livestock moves according to the rhythm of human attention. Even small acts, a neatly combed braid, a polished utensil, a clean garment, contribute to the larger story of diligence and propriety. In this way, beauty is not a superficial pursuit, but a reflection of character, effort, and social cohesion. Each gesture reinforces lessons both practical and moral, creating an environment where the ordinary and the aesthetic exist in constant dialogue. Evening arrives gently, the light softening into amber and shadow. Fires are lit, meals prepared and shared, and conversations flow quietly through cottages and halls. Stories are told, blending guidance, legend, and daily reflection. Children drift toward sleep with these lessons ingrained, while adults reflect on the care given to home, labor, and social interactions. As night descends fully, the village breathes as one, carrying forward the patterns of diligence, attention, and beauty into dreams. Stars twinkle over thatched roofs and open fields, casting soft light upon the sleeping village. The lessons of the day and the careful attention paid to appearance, action, and intention persist in the memory. Beauty, diligence, and propriety continue their quiet work, binding past, present, and future together in a seamless rhythm, preserving the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. Morning light spills gently over the medieval village, brushing the thatched roofs, cobblestone streets, and open fields with a soft gold that illuminates the details of everyday life. Mist curls around fences, gardens, and cottages, lifting slowly as the villagers rise to greet the day. Women move with measured care, arranging hair, adjusting garments, and tending hearths. Each motion is both practical and purposeful, a demonstration of diligence that communicates attention, propriety, and social awareness. The lessons of beauty and care are absorbed silently by children, whose eyes follow every gesture, learning the subtle interplay of presentation, action, and morality. In the fields, men guide oxen, till soil, and sow seeds with deliberate precision. Their movements are rhythmic, almost meditative, teaching, through example, the balance between effort and attention. Each turn of the plow or careful step among crops conveys responsibility, skill, and respect for the land. Young boys shadow their fathers, imitating movements and learning lessons far beyond the simple act of work. They understand, without words, that each action communicates character, intention, and adherence to the rhythms of both nature and society. The marketplace awakens mid-morning, vibrant with the hum of trade and human interaction. Merchants display goods carefully, arranging fruits, vegetables, textiles, and tools to signal skill, cleanliness, and attention. Buyers, in turn, observe posture, gestures, and cleanliness, interpreting subtle cues to gauge reliability and trustworthiness. Even simple acts, the handling of a basket, the straightening of a stall, the arrangement of coins, reflect diligence and care. Beauty here is inseparable from utility and morality, forming a silent language that communicates across social classes and generations. Within the manor, nobles engage in a careful choreography of appearance and behavior. Ladies smooth gowns, arrange hair, and polish accessories, while gentlemen ensure every garment, gesture, and greeting conveys refinement, respect, and social awareness. This meticulous attention to detail extends lessons of propriety and beauty outward, influencing not only peers, but also the wider community, reinforcing the interconnectedness of aesthetics, morality, and social cohesion. Every glance, tilt of the head, and gesture carries meaning, embedding the lessons of conduct into daily life for those who watch and learn. Children observe and imitate continuously, internalizing lessons about behavior, care, and presentation. A girl arranging her sister's hair, a boy following his father into the fields, a child observing the precise handling of market goods, all participate in the transmission of knowledge, values, and aesthetic understanding. Repetition and attention allow these lessons to become second nature, shaping both the individual and the community. Each day reinforces the codes of beauty, diligence, and propriety, ensuring that the subtleties of medieval life endure beyond the present moment. The day continues with steady rhythm. Fields stretch into neat patterns under careful tending, gardens flourish under attentive hands, and animals move in sync with human guidance. Every small gesture, from smoothing a hem to arranging herbs, contributes to the broader narrative of diligence and propriety. Beauty is expressed not as mere decoration, but as an extension of care, character, and communal harmony. Ordinary actions become meaningful, reinforcing social bonds and shaping the lived experience of the village. Evening descends with a soft glow, casting long shadows across streets and fields. Fires are lit in cottages, meals are prepared and shared, and quiet conversations flow. Stories intertwine legend, morality, and practical guidance, reinforcing the lessons of the day for both children and adults. As night deepens, villagers rest under the gentle cover of darkness, the rhythms of attention, presentation, and care persisting in dreams. Stars emerge over rooftops and open fields, their light a faint reflection of the careful work done through the day. The lessons of beauty, diligence, and propriety continue to weave their quiet influence, linking past, present, and future in a seamless rhythm, preserving the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. Morning light rises gently over the village once more, spreading warmth across thatched rooftops, cobblestone paths, and the rolling fields beyond. Mist lingers in the hollows between cottages and gardens, curling softly around fences and hedgerows, gradually lifting as the day begins. Villagers awaken in unison, yet at their own pace, stretching, adjusting garments, and tending hearths. Women move with deliberate care, arranging hair, folding cloth, and preparing meals, each motion a quiet testament to diligence, propriety, and the understanding that beauty is inseparable from everyday life. Children watch attentively, learning through observation the unspoken rules of appearance, posture, and care. In the fields, men guide oxen and horses through carefully plowed furrows, sowing seeds with rhythmic precision. Each movement demonstrates skill, patience, and respect for both land and labor, reflecting lessons absorbed over years of observation and repetition. Young boys follow closely, imitating gestures, absorbing the subtle codes of action and responsibility that define their world. Labor itself becomes a form of silent instruction where beauty emerges in the harmony of effort and the thoughtful execution of daily tasks. The marketplace awakens mid-morning with the familiar hum of commerce and conversation. Merchants display goods meticulously, arranging baskets of fruit, loaves of bread, and textiles in ways that communicate both skill and integrity. Buyers walk slowly, observing not only the wares, but also posture, gestures, and cleanliness, interpreting subtle signals of reliability and competence. Even the smallest acts, the alignment of a basket, the careful handling of coins, the smoothing of fabric, carry meaning, reinforcing the connection between beauty, function, and morality. Here, social knowledge is transmitted as much through observation as through words. In the manner, noble households prepare for the day's obligations with the same precision applied to every gesture and article of dress. Ladies arrange hair and gowns with meticulous care, polishing jewelry and ensuring that every movement conveys elegance and refinement. Gentlemen adjust cloaks, polish boots, and rehearse greetings and bows, projecting authority and composure. These displays, while formal, extend the same lessons of propriety and attention seen in cottages and marketplaces, demonstrating that beauty, behavior, and morality are intertwined across all levels of society. Children who observe these acts absorb the lessons of hierarchy, etiquette, and aesthetic awareness, internalizing them as part of daily experience. Throughout the village, small gestures reinforce the codes of conduct and beauty that define social life. A mother braiding her daughter's hair, a boy tidying tools, a woman arranging herbs to dry, all contribute to an ongoing education in diligence, propriety, and the subtle language of presentation. Repetition transforms these lessons into instinctive understanding, ensuring that the next generation maintains continuity with the rhythms, values, and aesthetics of the community. Every action, no matter how ordinary, becomes meaningful, teaching care, observation, and attentiveness to the young and reinforcing these values for adults alike. As the sun rises higher, the village hums with coordinated activity. Fields are tended with care, gardens thrive under attentive hands, and animals move in step with human guidance. Every small action, a smooth braid, a polished utensil, a tidy garment, reflects conscientiousness, beauty, and moral awareness. Ordinary life and aesthetic practice intertwined seamlessly, demonstrating that beauty is not merely decoration, but a reflection of character, diligence, and social cohesion. Evening falls gently, soft shadows stretching across streets and fields. Fires are lit in cottages, meals are prepared and shared, and stories circulate quietly, blending lessons, morality, and entertainment. Children drift into sleep, absorbing the day's subtle teachings, while adults reflect on labor, presentation, and care given to both home and community. Night deepens. Stars emerge over rooftops and fields, and the village rests, carrying the principles of diligence, beauty, and propriety into dreams. In every household, cottage, and hall, the careful acts of attention, presentation, and social cohesion continue to resonate, linking past, present, and future in a quiet, enduring rhythm, preserving the subtle truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. Morning light drifts softly across the medieval village, illuminating thatched roofs, cobblestone paths, and the stretching fields beyond. Mist rises slowly from gardens and low-lying hollows, curling around fences and hedgerows before dissipating into the warmth of the day. Villagers awaken gradually, stretching, adjusting garments, and tending fires. Women move with deliberate care, arranging hair, folding cloth, and preparing morning meals. Each motion carries meaning beyond function, a quiet reflection of diligence, propriety, and the value placed on beauty interwoven with life. Children watch attentively, learning through observation the unspoken language of posture, gesture, and attention to detail. In the fields, men begin their daily labor, guiding oxen, tilling soil, and sowing seeds with rhythmic precision. Every movement demonstrates skill, patience, and respect for the land. Young boys follow closely, mimicking gestures, absorbing lessons in responsibility, care, and social expectation. Work itself becomes a silent form of education, where the beauty of effort, precision, and mindful action communicates as powerfully as spoken instruction. Through repetition, these lessons instill both discipline and understanding, ensuring the continuity of knowledge across generations. The marketplace comes alive with mid-morning activity, the sounds of trade rising in a constant hum. Merchants arrange wares carefully, baskets of fruit, vegetables, textiles, and tools, each display signaling diligence, skill, and integrity. Buyers move slowly, observing posture, gestures, and cleanliness, interpreting subtle signals of trustworthiness and capability. Even the smallest acts, the alignment of a stall, the careful handling of coins, the presentation of goods, reflect both function and aesthetic awareness. Here, beauty and morality intersect, forming a language understood by all who participate. In noble households, preparation for the day is meticulous. Ladies adjust gowns and hair, polish accessories, and rehearse gestures of poise and grace, while gentlemen smooth cloaks, shine boots, and ensure every movement communicates authority and refinement. These formal practices mirror the lessons observed in cottages and marketplaces, showing that beauty, propriety, and morality operate across all social strata. Children who observe these routines internalize lessons in hierarchy, etiquette, and aesthetic sensibility. Incorporating these values into their understanding of the world. Small daily actions across the village reinforce the codes of propriety and beauty. A mother braiding her daughter's hair, a boy organizing tools, a woman arranging herbs. All are subtle lessons in care, attentiveness, and social cohesion. Repetition transforms these gestures into instinctive knowledge, ensuring that future generations inherit both practical skills and the social and moral understanding that guides behavior. Every act, no matter how ordinary, carries significance, embedding the principles of beauty and propriety into daily life. As the sun climbs higher, life in the village unfolds in measured rhythm. Fields stretch into neat rows, gardens flourish under careful attention, and animals move according to human guidance. Every gesture, a polished utensil, a tidy garment, a smoothed braid, demonstrates care, morality, and attention to detail. Beauty is inseparable from action, a reflection of both character and social harmony. Ordinary life and aesthetic practice exist in constant dialogue, teaching lessons both subtle and enduring. Evening settles softly, casting long shadows across the village. Fires glow in cottages, meals are shared, and quiet stories circulate, blending moral instruction, entertainment, and historical memory. Children drift into sleep, carrying lessons learned throughout the day, while adults reflect on their labor, attentiveness, and care. Night deepens, stars appear overhead, and the village rests, its rhythm of diligence, beauty, and propriety carried into dreams. In every home, cottage, and hall, the careful acts of attention, presentation, and social cohesion resonate, linking past, present, and future in a quiet, enduring rhythm, preserving the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. The morning sun rises gently over the medieval village, spilling soft light across thatched roofs, cobblestone streets, and the rolling fields beyond. Mist lingers in low hollows and gardens, curling around fences and hedgerows before dissipating with the warmth of the day. Villagers awaken gradually, stretching, adjusting garments, and tending fires. Women move with measured care, arranging hair, folding cloth, and preparing meals. Each gesture is a quiet testament to diligence, propriety, and the understanding that beauty is woven inseparably into daily life. Children observe intently, absorbing the unspoken codes of posture, gesture, and care, learning lessons that words cannot fully convey. In the fields, men guide oxen and horses with deliberate rhythm, tilling soil, sowing seeds, and maintaining fences. Their movements combine strength, skill, and mindfulness, teaching responsibility and patience through example. Young boys follow closely, imitating gestures and absorbing lessons in labor, propriety, and social expectation. The work itself becomes a form of silent education where effort, precision, and attention communicate as powerfully as spoken instruction. Repetition transforms these lessons into instinctive understanding, ensuring the continuity of knowledge, skill, and social norms across generations. The marketplace awakens, filled with the murmur of trade and human interaction. Merchants arrange goods carefully, baskets of fruit, Loaves of bread, textiles, and tools, each display signaling diligence, reliability, and aesthetic care. Buyers observe posture, gestures, and cleanliness, interpreting subtle cues of trustworthiness and skill. Even minor acts, the alignment of a stall, the careful handling of coins, the arrangement of wares, carry meaning. Here, beauty, function, and morality converge, forming a silent language that guides interaction, commerce, and social cohesion. Within the manor, preparation is meticulous and deliberate. Ladies smooth gowns, adjust hair, and polish accessories, ensuring each gesture communicates composure, elegance, and propriety. Gentlemen polish boots, arrange cloaks, and rehearse bows or greetings to convey authority, refinement, and social awareness. These formal practices mirror lessons in cottages and marketplaces, demonstrating that beauty, propriety, and morality operate across all levels of society. Children observing these routines internalize subtle teachings of hierarchy, etiquette, and aesthetic awareness, integrating them into daily life. Small gestures across the village continue to reinforce codes of conduct and aesthetic values. A mother braiding her daughter's hair, a boy arranging tools, a woman preparing herbs, all are lessons in attention, care, and social cohesion. Repetition embeds these lessons into instinctive knowledge, ensuring future generations inherit practical skills and the moral, social, and aesthetic understanding necessary for communal life. Each act, however ordinary, contributes to the continuity of medieval culture, shaping both individual character and collective identity. As the sun climbs, the village hums with coordinated activity. Fields stretch in precise rows, gardens flourish under careful tending, and animals move according to human guidance. Every gesture, a tidy braid, a polished utensil, a carefully folded garment, reflects diligence, care, and moral awareness. Beauty exists not as mere ornament, but as a reflection of character and social harmony. Daily life and aesthetic practice intertwine seamlessly, teaching subtle lessons that endure across time. Evening descends, soft and golden, casting long shadows across streets and fields. Fires glow in cottages, meals are shared, and quiet stories circulate, blending morality, history, and guidance. Children drift into sleep, carrying lessons from the day, while adults reflect on labor, attentiveness, and care given to home and community. Night deepens, stars emerge, and the village rests, its rhythm of diligence, propriety, and beauty continuing into dreams. In every home, cottage, and hall, the careful acts of attention, presentation, and social cohesion resonate quietly, linking past, present, and future in a seamless rhythm, preserving the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. Morning rises gently over the village, scattering pale gold light across thatched roofs, cobblestone streets, and fields stretching into the distance. Mist curls around fences, hedgerows, and gardens, lifting slowly as villagers awaken to the rhythm of the day. Women move with measured grace, arranging hair, folding cloth, and tending hearths. Each motion reflects not only practical necessity, but an understanding that beauty, care, and propriety are inseparable from daily life. Children watch attentively, learning the subtle cues of posture, gesture, and attention, absorbing lessons that shape their character and understanding of social norms. In the fields, men guide oxen and horses through furrows, sow seeds, and repair fences with deliberate precision. Their movements communicate skill, patience, and respect for the land. Young boys shadow their fathers, imitating gestures and internalizing lessons in labor, propriety, and responsibility. Work itself becomes a silent teacher, where beauty emerges through effort, attention, and consistency. Each repeated motion embeds knowledge and social understanding, preparing the next generation to maintain the rhythms of the village and uphold its standards of diligence and decorum. The marketplace hums with life mid-morning. Merchants arrange goods carefully. Baskets of fruit, loaves of bread, textiles, and tools, each display signaling reliability, skill, and aesthetic awareness. Buyers observe posture, gestures, and cleanliness, interpreting subtle cues of trustworthiness, even the smallest details. The alignment of a stall, the polishing of coins, the presentation of wares reflect both function and beauty, blending practical commerce with the silent transmission of social norms. Here, lessons of diligence, care, and propriety are enacted in the simplest interactions, teaching all who participate. Within noble households, the preparation of the day mirrors these lessons. Ladies adjust hair and gowns, polish jewelry, and rehearse gestures, ensuring every movement communicates elegance, composure, and propriety. Gentlemen smooth cloaks, shine boots, and practice bows, demonstrating authority and social awareness. These formal acts echo the care and attention observed in cottages and marketplaces, proving that beauty, morality, and social cohesion operate across all levels of medieval life. Children who witness these routines internalize lessons in hierarchy, etiquette, and aesthetic discernment, weaving them seamlessly into their understanding of the world. Everyday actions throughout the village reinforce these lessons. A mother braiding her daughter's hair, a boy arranging tools, a woman preparing herbs, all transmit knowledge of attention, care, and propriety. Through repetition, these lessons become instinctive, ensuring that successive generations inherit not only practical skills, but also the moral and social frameworks that sustain community life. Ordinary actions acquire meaning, teaching patience, diligence, and awareness, shaping both character and the collective culture of the village. As the sun rises higher, life continues in synchronized rhythm. Fields extend into neat patterns, gardens flourish under attentive hands, and animals follow the guidance of caretakers. Every gesture, from smooth braids to polished utensils, reflects diligence, care, and moral consciousness. Beauty is expressed through action, not ornament, connecting character, effort, and social cohesion. The ordinary and the aesthetic coexist, teaching subtle lessons that resonate long after each day ends. Evening falls with gentle light, casting shadows across streets and fields. Fires glow warmly in cottages, meals are shared, and stories circulate, blending guidance, morality, and memory. Children drift to sleep, carrying the lessons of the day, while adults reflect on labor, attentiveness, and care for both home and community. Night deepens, stars glimmer overhead, and the village rests, its enduring rhythm of beauty, diligence, and propriety continuing into dreams. In every home, cottage, and hall, acts of care, attention, and presentation echo quietly, linking past, present, and future in a seamless rhythm, preserving the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. Morning light slowly spreads across the medieval village, painting thatched roofs, cobblestone streets, and the surrounding fields in a gentle golden hue. Mist rises from gardens, low hollows, and hedgerows, curling softly before dissipating in the warmth of the day. Villagers awaken gradually, stretching, adjusting garments, and tending fires. Women move with careful intention, arranging hair, folding cloth, and preparing morning meals. Each gesture reflects not just practical necessity, but a subtle awareness that beauty, care, and propriety are inseparable elements of daily life. Children watch closely, absorbing lessons through observation, learning the delicate language of posture, gesture, and attention to detail. In the fields, men begin their daily labor, guiding oxen and horses through furrows, sowing seeds, and maintaining fences with measured precision. Every movement demonstrates skill, patience, and respect for the land. Young boys follow, shadowing their fathers, imitating motions and absorbing lessons in labor, responsibility, and social expectation. Work becomes a silent form of instruction, where beauty emerges naturally from effort, attention, and deliberate action. Repetition transforms these lessons into instinctive knowledge, preparing the next generation to sustain the village's rhythms and uphold its standards of diligence, decorum, and communal cohesion. The marketplace awakens mid-morning with the soft hum of trade and conversation. Merchants arrange goods carefully, baskets of fruit, loaves of bread, textiles, and tools, signaling both skill and integrity. Buyers observe posture, gestures, and cleanliness, interpreting subtle cues of trustworthiness and competence. Even the smallest details, the alignment of a stall, the handling of coins, the careful presentation of wares, reflect both function and aesthetic awareness. In this environment, beauty, morality, and diligence converge, teaching all who participate the codes that maintain social cohesion. Within noble households, preparation for the day is meticulous. Ladies smooth gowns, adjust hair, and polish accessories, ensuring that every gesture communicates composure, refinement, and propriety. Gentlemen arrange cloaks, polish boots, and rehearse bows or greetings, demonstrating authority and grace. These formal practices echo the care and attention observed in cottages and marketplaces, showing that beauty, propriety, and moral conduct function across all social levels. Children observing these routines absorb lessons in hierarchy, etiquette, and aesthetic awareness, weaving them naturally into their understanding of the world. Small actions throughout the village reinforce the codes of propriety and beauty. A mother braiding her daughter's hair, a boy arranging tools, a woman preparing herbs, all transmit lessons in attention, care, and social cohesion. Through repetition, these lessons become instinctive, ensuring that the next generation inherits practical skills as well as the moral and social frameworks that sustain communal life. Ordinary gestures gain significance, teaching patience, attentiveness, and responsibility, shaping both character and the collective culture of the village. As the sun climbs higher, life unfolds in a steady, coordinated rhythm. Fields stretch into neat patterns, gardens flourish under watchful care, and animals move with guidance from their caretakers. Every gesture, from smooth braids to polished utensils, reflects diligence, attention, and moral consciousness. Beauty is expressed through action rather than mere decoration, linking character, effort, and social harmony. Ordinary life and aesthetic practice intertwine, teaching lessons that resonate well beyond the day itself. Evening arrives quietly, casting long shadows across streets, fields, and cottages. Fires glow warmly in homes, meals are shared, and stories circulate, blending practical instruction, history, and morality. Children drift to sleep, carrying the subtle lessons of the day, while adults reflect on labor, care, and attentiveness in both home and community. Night deepens, stars appear overhead, and the village rests, its enduring rhythm of beauty, diligence, and propriety continuing seamlessly into dreams. In every cottage, home, and hall, acts of care, attention, and presentation echo quietly, linking past, present, and future in a seamless rhythm, preserving the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. Morning light seeps softly over the medieval village, bathing thatched roofs, cobblestone streets, and open fields in a gentle, golden warmth. Mist drifts slowly from gardens and low hollows, curling around fences and hedgerows before lifting with the rising sun. Villagers awakening gradually, stretching, adjusting garments, and tending hearths. Women move with deliberate care, arranging hair, folding cloth, and preparing meals. Each action reflects a deep understanding that beauty, diligence, and propriety are inseparable aspects of everyday life. Children watch attentively, absorbing lessons of posture, gesture, and careful attention, internalizing values that will guide them throughout life. In the fields, men begin the day's labor with measured precision, guiding oxen through furrows, sowing seeds, and tending fences. Their movements embody skill, patience, and respect for the land. Young boys follow closely, shadowing their fathers, imitating motions, and learning lessons in responsibility, care, and social expectation. Work serves as a quiet teacher, where beauty emerges naturally through effort, attention, and thoughtful execution. Repetition strengthens understanding, ensuring the continuity of knowledge, skill, and social norms across generations. Mid-morning brings life to the marketplace, alive with the hum of trade and conversation. Merchants arrange wares carefully. Baskets of fruit, vegetables, textiles, and tools demonstrating diligence, skill, and integrity. Buyers observe posture, gestures, and cleanliness, interpreting subtle cues of trustworthiness and competence. Even the smallest details, the alignment of a stall, the careful handling of coins, or the presentation of goods, communicate both function and aesthetic awareness. Here, beauty, morality, and diligence converge, creating a silent language understood by all participants, reinforcing the structure of social life. Within noble households, preparation is meticulous. Ladies smooth gowns, arrange hair, and polish accessories, ensuring that every gesture communicates composure, elegance, and propriety. Gentlemen adjust cloaks, polish boots, and practice bows or greetings, conveying authority, refinement, and social awareness. These formal routines mirror lessons observed in cottages and marketplaces, demonstrating that beauty, morality, and propriety function across all levels of society. Children who observe these acts absorb subtle lessons in hierarchy, etiquette, and aesthetic awareness, incorporating them naturally into their understanding of the world. Small, deliberate gestures across the village continue to reinforce these lessons. A mother braiding her daughter's hair, a boy organizing tools, a woman preparing herbs, all transmit knowledge of care, attentiveness, and social cohesion. Repetition transforms these acts into instinctive understanding, ensuring that future generations inherit not only practical skills, but also the moral, social, and aesthetic frameworks necessary for communal life. Ordinary actions gain significance, teaching patience, diligence, and awareness, shaping both individual character and collective culture. As the sun rises higher, life in the village unfolds in rhythm. Fields stretch into neat rows, gardens flourish under attentive hands, and animals move in step with human guidance. Every gesture, a polished utensil, a tidy braid, a carefully folded garment, reflects diligence, care, and moral awareness. Beauty is expressed through action rather than decoration, linking character, effort, and social harmony. Ordinary life and aesthetic practice exist in constant dialogue, conveying subtle lessons that resonate far beyond the day itself. Evening arrives gently, casting long shadows across streets and fields. Fires glow in cottages, meals are shared, and stories circulate, blending guidance, morality, and history. Children drift into sleep, carrying the lessons of the day, while adults reflect on labor, attentiveness, and care for both home and community. Night deepens, stars appear above, and the village rests, its enduring rhythm of diligence, beauty, and propriety continuing seamlessly into dreams. In every home, cottage, and hall, acts of care, attention, and presentation echo quietly, linking past, present, and future in a continuous rhythm, preserving the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. Morning light flows gently over the medieval village, spreading warmth across thatched roofs, cobblestone streets, and fields stretching into the distance. Mist rises slowly from gardens, low hollows, and hedgerows, curling softly before dissipating in the growing sunlight. Villagers awaken gradually, stretching, adjusting garments, and tending fires. Women move with quiet deliberation, arranging hair, folding cloth, and preparing meals. Each gesture reflects both practical need and an understanding that beauty, diligence, and propriety are intertwined in daily life. Children watch intently, absorbing lessons in posture, gesture, and careful attention, internalizing the subtle codes that shape character and social behavior. In the fields, men guide oxen and horses through furrows, sow seeds, and mend fences with careful precision. Each movement conveys skill, patience, and respect for the land. Young boys shadow their fathers, imitating gestures and absorbing lessons in labor, responsibility, and social expectation. Work becomes a silent teacher, where beauty emerges naturally through consistent effort and mindfulness. Repetition transforms these lessons into instinctive knowledge, ensuring the continuity of skill, character, and social norms across generations. The marketplace awakens mid-morning, filled with the soft hum of commerce and conversation. Merchants arrange goods with care. Baskets of fruit, vegetables, textiles, and tools, demonstrating diligence, skill, and aesthetic awareness. Buyers observe posture, gestures, and cleanliness, interpreting subtle cues of trustworthiness and competence. Even small details, the alignment of a stall, the handling of coins, the presentation of goods, reflect both function and beauty. Here, beauty, morality, and diligence converge, forming a silent language understood by all, reinforcing social cohesion and community values. Within noble households, the day begins with meticulous preparation. Ladies adjust gowns, arrange hair, and polish accessories, ensuring that every gesture communicates elegance, composure, and propriety. Gentlemen smooth cloaks, shine boots, and rehearse bows or greetings, projecting authority, refinement, and social awareness. These formal acts mirror lessons observed in cottages and marketplaces, showing that beauty, propriety, and moral conduct operate across all social strata. Children observing these routines internalize lessons in hierarchy, etiquette, and aesthetic understanding, incorporating them naturally into daily life. Small, deliberate gestures across the village continue to reinforce codes of conduct and beauty. A mother braiding her daughter's hair, a boy arranging tools, a woman preparing herbs, all transmit knowledge of care, attentiveness, and social cohesion. Repetition turns these acts into instinctive understanding, ensuring that future generations inherit practical skills as well as the moral and social frameworks necessary for communal life. Every ordinary gesture becomes meaningful, teaching patience, diligence, and mindfulness, shaping both individual character and collective culture. As the sun rises higher, village life continues in steady rhythm. Fields stretch into precise rows. Gardens flourish under careful attention, and animals move in step with human guidance. Every small action, a polished utensil, a tidy braid, a carefully folded garment, reflects diligence, attention, and moral consciousness. Beauty manifests through action, linking character, effort, and social harmony. Ordinary life and aesthetic practice exist in seamless dialogue, imparting lessons that endure far beyond the present day. Evening falls gently, casting long shadows across cottages, streets, and fields. Fires glow warmly, meals are shared, and stories circulate, blending practical guidance, history, and morality. Children drift into sleep, carrying the subtle lessons of the day, while adults reflect on labor, care, and attentiveness within home and community. Night deepens, stars appear overhead, and the village rests, its enduring rhythm of diligence, beauty, and propriety preserved seamlessly into dreams. In every home, cottage, and hall, acts of attention, care, and presentation resonate quietly, linking past, present, and future in a continuous rhythm, preserving the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. Morning rises softly over the medieval village, spreading warm light across thatched roofs, cobblestone streets, and gently rolling fields. Mist lingers in gardens, hollows, and along hedgerows, curling softly before rising with the warmth of the sun. Villagers awaken gradually, stretching, adjusting garments, and tending fires. Women move with care, arranging hair, folding cloth, and preparing meals. Each gesture reflects a quiet understanding that beauty, diligence, and propriety are inseparable from everyday life. Children watch intently, absorbing the subtleties of posture, gesture, and attention, internalizing lessons that shape both character and social awareness. In the fields, men guide oxen and horses, sow seeds, and repair fences with measured attention. Each motion communicates skill, patience, and respect for the land. Young boys shadow their fathers, imitating gestures and absorbing lessons in labor, responsibility, and social expectation. Work itself becomes a silent teacher, where beauty emerges through effort, consistency, and mindfulness. Repetition transforms these lessons into instinctive knowledge, ensuring continuity of skill, character, and social norms across generations. The marketplace hums with life, filled with the soft sounds of trade and conversation. Merchants arrange goods carefully, baskets of fruit, loaves of bread, textiles, and tools, demonstrating diligence, integrity, and aesthetic awareness. Buyers watch posture, gestures, and cleanliness, interpreting subtle cues of trustworthiness and competence. Even the smallest details, the alignment of a stall, the careful handling of coins, the presentation of wares, reflect both function and beauty. Here, diligence, morality, and aesthetics converge, forming a silent language that maintains social cohesion and conveys the values of the community. Within noble households, preparation for the day follows a meticulous rhythm. Ladies adjust gowns, smooth hair, and polish accessories, ensuring every gesture communicates composure, elegance, and propriety. Gentlemen adjust cloaks, polish boots, and rehearse bows or greetings, projecting authority, refinement, and social grace. These formal routines echo the care and attention observed in cottages and marketplaces, demonstrating that beauty, propriety, and moral conduct operate across all social strata. Children witnessing these practices internalize lessons in hierarchy, etiquette, and aesthetic awareness, incorporating them naturally into their understanding of the world. Throughout the village, small, deliberate gestures continue to reinforce the codes of propriety and beauty. A mother braiding her daughter's hair, a boy arranging tools, a woman preparing herbs, all transmit knowledge of attentiveness, care, and communal cohesion. Repetition transforms these acts into instinctive understanding, ensuring that successive generations inherit practical skills as well as the moral and social frameworks essential for community life. Ordinary actions acquire significance, teaching patience, diligence, and mindfulness, shaping both individual character and collective culture. As the sun climbs higher, the village moves in quiet, harmonious rhythm. Fields extend into neat rows. Gardens thrive under careful attention, and animals follow the guidance of their caretakers. Every gesture, a polished utensil, a tidy braid, a carefully folded garment, reflects diligence, care, and moral awareness. Beauty manifests through action rather than ornament, linking character, effort, and social harmony. Ordinary life and aesthetic practice intertwine seamlessly, imparting lessons that endure far beyond the day itself. Evening descends gently, casting long shadows across streets, cottages, and fields. Fires glow warmly, meals are shared, and stories circulate, blending moral guidance, history, and instruction. Children drift into sleep, carrying the subtle teachings of the day, while adults reflect on labor, care, and attention given to both home and community. Night deepens, stars appear overhead, and the village rests, its enduring rhythm of beauty, diligence, and propriety continuing seamlessly into dreams in every home, cottage, and hall. Acts of care, attention, and presentation echo quietly, linking past, present, and future in a continuous rhythm, preserving the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. Morning light spills gently across the medieval village, illuminating thatched roofs, cobblestone streets, and the gently rolling fields that stretch into the distance. Mist rises from gardens and low hollows, curling softly around hedgerows before dissipating in the warming sunlight. Villagers awaken gradually, stretching, adjusting garments, and tending fires. Women move with care and deliberation, arranging hair, folding cloth, and preparing morning meals. Each action reflects a quiet understanding that beauty, diligence, and propriety are inseparable from daily life. Children watch intently, absorbing lessons in posture, gesture, and attention, learning the subtle codes that guide character and social behavior. In the fields, men guide oxen and horses through furrows, sow seeds, and mend fences with careful precision. Their movements convey skill, patience, and respect for the land. Young boys follow closely, imitating gestures and absorbing lessons in labor, responsibility, and social expectation. Work itself serves as a silent teacher, where beauty emerges through consistent effort, mindfulness, and attention to detail. Repetition transforms these lessons into instinctive knowledge, ensuring the continuity of skill, character, and social norms across generations. The marketplace hums with life, alive with soft sounds of trade and conversation. Merchants arrange goods meticulously. Baskets of fruit, loaves of bread, textiles, and tools demonstrating diligence, skill, and aesthetic awareness. Buyers observe posture, gestures, and cleanliness, interpreting subtle cues of trustworthiness and competence. Even minor details, the alignment of a stall, the handling of coins, the presentation of goods, reflect both function and beauty. Here, diligence, morality, and aesthetics converge, forming a silent language that communicates social values and reinforces communal cohesion. Within noble households, preparation for the day follows a meticulous pattern. Ladies adjust gowns, smooth hair, and polish accessories, ensuring every gesture communicates composure, elegance, and propriety. Gentlemen adjust cloaks, polish boots, and rehearse bows or greetings, projecting authority, refinement, and social grace. These formal practices mirror the attention and care observed in cottages and marketplaces, showing that beauty, propriety, and moral conduct function across all social levels. Children observing these routines internalize lessons in hierarchy, etiquette, and aesthetic awareness, incorporating them naturally into their understanding of the world. Small, deliberate actions throughout the village continue to reinforce the codes of beauty and propriety. A mother braiding her daughter's hair, a boy arranging tools, a woman preparing herbs, all transmit knowledge of care, attentiveness, and communal cohesion. Repetition transforms these acts into instinctive understanding, ensuring future generations inherit practical skills as well as the moral and social frameworks essential for life within the community. Ordinary gestures gain significance, teaching patience, diligence, and mindfulness, shaping both individual character and the collective culture of the village. As the sun rises higher, the village moves in quiet harmony. Fields stretch into precise rows, gardens flourish under careful attention, and animals follow the guidance of caretakers. Every gesture, a polished utensil, a tidy braid, a carefully folded garment, reflects diligence, care, and moral awareness. Beauty manifests through action rather than mere decoration, linking character, effort, and social harmony. Daily life and aesthetic practice intertwine seamlessly, imparting lessons that extend far beyond the present day. Evening descends softly, casting long shadows across cottages, streets, and fields. Fires glow warmly, meals are shared, and stories circulate, blending instruction, morality, and memory. Children drift into sleep, carrying the subtle lessons of the day, while adults reflect on labor, attentiveness, and care within home and community. Night deepens, stars appear overhead, and the village rests, its enduring rhythm of beauty, diligence, and propriety preserved seamlessly into dreams. In every home, cottage, and hall, acts of care, attention, and presentation resonate quietly, linking past, present, and future in a continuous rhythm, preserving the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. Morning light stretches slowly across the medieval village, spilling warmth across thatched roofs, cobblestone streets, and fields dotted with crops swaying gently in the breeze. Mist curls around gardens and low hollows, lifting gradually as the day begins. Villagers awaken with quiet precision, stretching, adjusting garments, and tending fires. Women move deliberately, arranging hair, folding cloth, and preparing meals. Each gesture reflecting a deep understanding that beauty, diligence, and propriety are inseparable elements of daily life. Children observe attentively, absorbing lessons through posture, gesture, and careful attention, internalizing values that will guide them throughout their lives. In the fields, men guide oxen and horses, sow seeds, and maintain fences with measured care. Each movement communicates skill, patience, and respect for the land. Young boys shadow their fathers, imitating motions and absorbing lessons in labor, responsibility, and social expectation. Work becomes a silent teacher, where beauty arises naturally from effort, consistency, and mindfulness. Repetition ensures that these lessons are woven into instinctive knowledge, preserving the continuity of skill, character, and social norms across generations. The marketplace awakens, alive with the murmur of trade and conversation. Merchants arrange goods with care. Baskets of fruit, loaves of bread, textiles, and tools demonstrating diligence, skill, and aesthetic sensitivity. Buyers watch posture, gestures, and cleanliness, interpreting subtle cues of reliability and competence. Even minor details, the alignment of a stall, careful handling of coins, presentation of wares, reflect both practical skill and aesthetic awareness. Here, beauty, morality, and diligence converge, forming a silent language understood by all, reinforcing social cohesion and communal values. Within noble households, the day begins with meticulous preparation. Ladies adjust gowns, smooth hair, and polish accessories, ensuring each gesture communicates elegance, composure, and propriety. Gentlemen arrange cloaks, polish boots, and rehearse bows, projecting authority, refinement, and social grace. These formal routines echo lessons observed in cottages and marketplaces, demonstrating that beauty, propriety, and moral conduct operate across all social levels. Children observing these acts internalize lessons in hierarchy, etiquette, and aesthetic awareness, incorporating them naturally into their understanding of the world. Throughout the village, small, intentional gestures reinforce these codes of conduct and beauty. A mother braiding her daughter's hair, a boy organizing tools, a woman preparing herbs, all transmit knowledge of attentiveness, care, and communal cohesion. Repetition transforms these acts into instinctive understanding, ensuring that future generations inherit practical skills as well as the moral and social frameworks essential for life within the community. Ordinary gestures acquire significance, teaching patience, diligence, and mindfulness, shaping both individual character and collective culture. As the sun reaches its peak, the village hums with steady, harmonious rhythm. Fields stretch in neat patterns. Gardens flourish under careful attention, and animals move in concert with human guidance. Every gesture, a polished utensil, a tidy braid, a carefully folded garment, reflects diligence, care, and moral awareness. Beauty manifests through action rather than ornamentation, linking character, effort, and social harmony. Daily life and aesthetic practice intertwine, imparting lessons that endure far beyond the day itself. Evening descends gently, casting long shadows across cottages, streets, and fields. Fires glow in homes, meals are shared, and stories circulate, blending instruction, morality, and memory. Children drift to sleep, carrying the subtle teachings of the day, while adults reflect on labor, attentiveness, and care within home and community. Night deepens, stars emerge overhead, and the village rests, its enduring rhythm of beauty, diligence, and propriety preserved seamlessly into dreams. And as darkness blankets the village, the quiet acts of care, attention, and presentation continue to echo in the hearts of all who dwell there. Past, present, and future merge in a continuous rhythm, preserving the subtle, enduring truths of the medieval world for those awake and asleep alike. In this harmony of life and beauty, every gesture, every effort, every moment carries a story, a lesson, and a whisper from history, ensuring that the essence of medieval ideals survives, quietly guiding, teaching, and inspiring those who follow in its gentle, enduring rhythm. As the story drifts toward its end, imagine the gentle quiet of night settling all around you, the lantern's glow fading softer, the sound of the waves against the lighthouse walls, a steady lullaby carrying through the silence. The keeper finishes the last notes in his logbook, the ink drying slow upon the page, and with one final glance toward the glowing beacon, he feels the weight of the day give way to rest. Outside, the stars shimmer faintly, their calm light weaving dreams across the sky. And inside, the warmth of the small room embraces him as he lowers himself onto the narrow bed, his eyes growing heavy with every breath. Each sound fades, each thought drifts, until there is nothing left but stillness, a deep and gentle stillness, the kind that wraps around you like a soft blanket. So now let your mind release its hold. Let your body sink deeper, safe, calm, at peace, as the night carries you into dreams. Good night, dear listener. Good night.